morning, everybody, and welcome to BuildWorks 101, an introduction to our new platform. Thank you all for joining us this morning. We'll be close to an hour, if not just under. A note for everyone, we will be recording the webinar, so I know there's a few folks that couldn't make it last minute. Perhaps you have some colleagues that couldn't make it as well. We'll be emailing out a link to that for everyone so that you can watch that video and get all the information from that at a later date. You'll see on the screen here a quick basic agenda just so you understand where we're going to touch. And I'll start off just by introducing our hosts and panelists or presenters for today. So myself, I'm Curtis Griffith. I saw a lot of familiar names on the registration list, so thanks for joining and great to be chatting with you. I'm the Director of Business Development for BuildWorks Canada across all three provinces, and I'm down here in Calgary. We also have joining us as a presenter, Sarah Lynn Parsons. Sarah Lynn is our Construction Information Specialist in Alberta. She focuses on pre-bid information and leads across the province, and she's up in Edmonton. We have also joining us from out east, Les Maximowicz, with the Winnipeg Construction Association. Les has been with the Winnipeg Association for, I think, 17 years, Les said, so he knows more about this stuff than I ever will. And joining us from Winnipeg, we have Jacqueline Gershman, who is the Business Development Manager for the Winnipeg Construction Association, as well as Michael Shira from the Regina Construction Association. So we'll have Sarah Lynn, myself, and Les presenting, and we'll have Michael and Jacqueline helping answer any questions through the Q&A functionality. So that's one housekeeping note. We'll ask that everyone use that Q&A functionality to ask questions. You see that either on the bottom of your screen or perhaps at the top in your Zoom panel. We will perhaps answer your question right away in the Q&A. If we don't answer your question, please know that we are noting those questions, we're aggregating them, and we will answer those questions at the end of the webinar. We'll also have an opportunity there to run through some new features, answer those questions, so make sure you stick around until then to get those questions answered. I mentioned we'll be recording just as a reminder, so this will get emailed out to everyone who has registered for the webinar. And I'll start off just with a quick introduction. For many of you that have been with us and used the service for a while, you'll know that we made a pretty sudden transition to our new technology and platform in April. I think April 3rd was the date that scarred into my memory. We were working with a new provider, eSolutions, who is our new technology provider, and we were planning a transition for later in 2021. So we would have had a lot of runway, 8 to 10 months to plan that out, make a smooth transition. Completely out of our control. Early in April, we were given some tough news from our previous technology provider that they would not be able to continue providing the service for us, and we had about 4 days to make the transition. So we made the transition. It was a tremendous amount of work that the teams across the three provinces put in to do so, but it was very sudden. We understand that. We know, trust me, we've heard and we know deeply that there was a lot of inconvenience there. Really, it was just something that we had to do, and didn't have much of a choice in the matter. So we are excited about our new provider. eSolutions is a tremendous technology company. They provide the bids and tenders platform, which some of you may know and use. They also provide the sister services to ours in British Columbia as Bid Central, in Ontario as Link to Build, and we work really closely with those groups, and we're collaborating and making our service stronger. And we're at a really good point now with the technology, and the future is looking really strong with our ability to develop, add new features, and deploy them very quickly. So we're really excited about it. We're excited to be doing this and have you all on this morning to help you get a far better understanding of how to use the service and get all the value out of it that you need. Our core purpose is to connect you to work. We want you to find work, grow your business, and go do the things that you're good at. So we're going to help you do that today. and we're excited about that. So thanks for joining again. I am going to officially hand off the reins to Sarah Lynn Parsons, and she's going to start with a walkthrough of the dashboard and some of the account functionality.
Thank you, Curtis. I'm just going to share my screen with you guys quickly here. Okay, so as you guys can see, I am on the login screen. If you have not yet logged into BuildWorks, what you will want to just do to get started is click this forgot password link and enter your email here. Once you click submit, it will prompt an email that sends you a link to reset your password. Back to the login page. As you can see, my email and password are already queued up, so I'm just going to log in and I will be brought to my dashboard here. So on my dashboard, I can see the details of my membership. I work for the Edmonton Construction Association, and I have an active membership within Alberta. I don't have an active membership within Saskatchewan or Manitoba. If you guys are part of an organization that works across all 3 provinces, you might have access to all 3. It looks a little bit different for everybody, and I think that that's one of the beautiful things about it. Next up is the My Project calendar. When you do follow a project, it will appear on this calendar with any site meetings as well as closing dates. This list along the right indicates the 5 activities that are happening on your followed projects that are closest to the current date. So as you can see, I have a site meeting on September 4th, another site meeting on the 15th or September 14th, and then the 15th. And then a few closing dates coming up later that week. They're also right here on the calendar. The light blue indicates closing date and the dark blue indicates site meetings. Next, we get into the My Project updates. So here you can sort what actually shows up in this section, whether you want to see addenda updates, closing date updates, site meetings, and status changes. You can customize this by unchecking any of the things that you don't wish to appear in this section. As you can see, I've followed the University of Alberta Dentistry Pharmacy building, and there was an addenda update since I last viewed that project. In order to access this project, to view that addenda, all I would need to do is click this view button right here, and it would take me right to the project sheet for that one. Projects I'm following, again, this one is sorted by whichever has a closing date closest to the current date, and you can view them all here by clicking this load more button. It will load the next 3. You can also access all of the projects that you are following within the search function. Les will take you through that a little bit later. Opportunity matching, so this we will touch on a little bit later when we get into the company profile section. But this is all the opportunities that match with the keywords in your company profile. Same thing goes with the My Product matching. That's just more of a manufacturer and supplier focused version. Bid results, so anything that you are following that is closed or awarded will show up in this section, starting from the very beginning. So the first projects I would have followed would have closed April 30th, and they all appear here. You can unfollow them once you have all the information you want from that project, or you can keep them here because it doesn't hurt to have them. I'll just show you an example. This one you can see it's awarded. So to view that one, I'm just going to click on view. It'll launch the project information sheet. All of the information that was there when the project was first posted is still available to view. We never get rid of any of that data. Project contacts, documents, and addenda all stays there. The bidders, so as you can see, there are a list of general contractors here, and Elliston was the successful proponent for this project. Sometimes we do have awarded for $1 value for the contract. Obviously, it wasn't a dollar value contract. We just have to have something that separates it so that you can tell that they were the successful proponent. No matter what page you are on in BuildWorks, you can always access your account, which is what I'm going to touch on next. So as you can see, my name appears on this top right-hand corner. I'm just going to click on that and then go to account. Now, as you can see, I have a basic user profile, including my name, my email address, and the option to opt out or into the daily email. So as you can see, I do not have email opt-out checked off. That means that I do still receive the BuildWorks Daily Matches email. I will show you an example of that once I get into the company profile section. You can also make changes to your password if you want to update that. All you need to do is enter your new password and then scroll down to the very bottom and make sure that you press that update button, or the changes will not stick. Next, we're going to go into the edit company profile section. So as you can see, under my user account still, I can see my company's Edmonton Construction Association. By clicking this edit company profile, it's going to take me to the company form. There are a lot of fields that are currently locked to users. With any information for your companies that does require an update, please reach out to your local construction association. That way, all of the associations as well as the BuildWorks team have the same information. We always have the best contact information for your group. You can also see the details for your membership levels and user information. So this is something that's a little bit new. You can add new users as well as remove inactive users or users that have departed from your organization. In order to add new users, you'll just press this add new user button and enter the basic information and click save. If you want to make it easy for them, once you've done that, you can take their email and use that forgot password button that I showed you at the very beginning. And that'll then send them the password reset so that they can log in right away. You can also remove users. So if I wanted to get rid of David Ross at the ECA, I could just press remove and confirm. With any of these changes, once you have made any changes on this page, do just make sure that you are pressing the save button at the very bottom. Next, we have business categories, service regions, labor types, classification of work, and owner type you work for. These are all pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not going to dive too far into them. For classification of work and owner type, they're drop downs, so just press that and select any that are applicable here. For labor type and service region as well as business category, it's just a checkbox where you can check all that are applicable. With the service region specifically, it's wherever your organization does business. So if you work with a head office in Edmonton, but you also do some work in Red Deer, Lloydminster, whatever it is, you can just have all of those checked off right here for you. Next, we get into the categories. So this is kind of the most important thing in my opinion on your company profile. So as you can see, I have a few matching keywords set up here. I'll just show you an example of the daily matches email. So here's the daily bid summary that I got this morning. It includes 5 projects that match the keywords that are indicated on my company profile. So as you can see, these 5 projects are aligned directly with those 3 keywords that are on my profile. And then there were 12 projects, including those 5 that were added within the Alberta region in the last 24 hours. So it's really helpful. By clicking any of these, it will take you to the login page and then directly to that project sheet. And it's a really easy way to kind of minimize your time spent on BuildWorks, because I know there's never enough hours in the day. When you are adding these keywords, one thing that's really, really important to do is press enter after each individual one. So rather than going, okay, I need to enter my keywords, I'm going to go HVAC, mechanical, and landscaping. That will not be recognized as a keyword unless you press enter. So after each individual keyword, you'll want to press enter, because right now the way I've done that one is it's looking for HVAC, mechanical, landscaping all at once, which is probably not going to show up because those are kind of weird things to show up all together in a project. So when you are entering them, just make sure that you are pressing enter after each one. If you do log in and you get a notification that says you're missing information on your company profile, 9 times out of 10, that is it. So just take a look, add some keywords, and then press enter. It'll likely stop that notification from bugging you every time you log in. The public directory, this is also stuff that will be touched on a little bit later today. But I would just recommend going through it and entering all the information that you do know. That just about wraps it up for me. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and pass it on over to Les.
Thank you very much for that, Sarah. I'm going to be now covering project searching, filters, and document search. Okay. I'm just going to share my screen. One moment here. Okay, so now I'm sharing my screen. I'm just on my dashboard that you can see here. I'm just going to be going to access the projects through the search menu. Okay, so when you get to this particular page here, you'll see that you're going to see everything, Alberta and also Saskatchewan and of course Manitoba by default. Now, when you want to filter down and just see the projects for your zone, what you're going to want to do actually is just click on the blue search button here. Okay, and then this will narrow it down and you'll have 108 records found. Okay, so now these are only the opportunities for your particular zone that are active. Okay. So now here, for any of these projects that you're viewing and you want to access, individually what you can do is you can either double click on the project, or you have this other option here of clicking on the eye symbol, and that will take you right into it. So what I'll do for the example, I'm just going to go ahead and double click on it. And now I'm into the project, seeing all the information here and all the details here that entail the project, when it closes and the time. You have your project contacts, who's involved, documents and addenda, right? And then you have your bidders, if there are any. Okay, so there's not much activity on this project. So I'm going to use the back to project list here. And then when I'm wanting to see projects that actually have maybe a little bit more activity, want to know who the general contractors are bidding on it, say subcontractors, I do have an option here to select from my columns. Okay, this is going to filter what's going to be shown on your screen. So I can then add the bidders to this particular column. And now when I'm going through, I can see the ones that have a little bit more activity on it. So for example, Lac du Bonny Town Office, right? I can see there's quite a few bidders on there. First, what I'm going to do is I actually want to follow the project and add it to my calendar. So I can use the Wi-Fi symbol. Okay. Now it's successfully added. And then I'm going to use the eye symbol this time to access it. Okay, so now I'm viewing this project here, right? All the details, contacts. Now go to bidders, Blue Lake, Lang Green, You Build, or the general contractors. Now I'm decided that I would like to bid on this project. So then I'm going to go ahead and click on I am bidding. Okay, I have two options here. Before I add my bidder type is I can actually display my contact information or my company information. So what I'll do is I'm going to add myself as a general contractor, and I would like to choose the first option. Once I've done so, I can go on the bidders here, and I don't even have to refresh my screen. I'm automatically added here, and now I'm on the list. So now any subcontractors can see that I'm on the GC list, and they can send me a bid. If I've changed my mind, I'm just going to do it in reverse order, and I can click on the remove me from bidders, and I'll actually confirm, do you want to be removed? And I'll say yes. Also, one thing just to cover too, when you are adding yourself as a bidder, if you are not already following the project, there is this option between I am bidding here on the bottom if you want to follow the project. So that's kind of a second reminder there for you. If you've, not sure if you're following it, the button is here, of course, but you do have the option within I'm bidding feature. Okay. So going back to the project list here and seeing the records that are found, I do have another option here that might be critical for what you're looking for. And that's a keyword density. I already have mine selected so that if I'm searching any keyword and I use the document search, within those 108 projects, it's going to look for that particular word. So for example, I'll just use a general word of painting. Okay. Now I'm going to search the blueprints and the specifications. Okay, for Manitoba zone. I'm not going to add anything else. You do have some other options here. You can add the city if you choose, if you want to add Winnipeg. What you can also do too is you can go into your dates and you can choose date created from, or you can add the closing date if you want to, select a certain range. So say next week you want to know what's closing, you can do that. Or if you're interested in the site meetings, you want to narrow down where the site meetings are for these projects, you can choose your date range. Classification of work, owner type, all right, who you do work for, okay, if you want to filter it. And other one here is your stage, also formerly known as status. So if you want to search other opportunities, say the closed status, you can do so, or say for the jobs that have been awarded, you can do the same. So it's entirely up to you. For this example, I will use the open stage, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and painting, and I'm going to hit the search button. So now it will go through all the project documents for 108 records. And I find normally on average this takes, about 30 seconds to a minute, depending on what you're searching for and how large the scope of work is. So painting is, fairly general. So most likely it's going to exist in a lot of projects, but I still find that it takes, at the most about a minute. So when you're on this screen, just make sure that you let it load, let it do its thing. And then what's going to happen is once it does load, it's actually going to show you all the projects with the keyword density from the top to the bottom. Okay, so that wasn't too long that you find here. You can see it took probably not even a minute. And what you can see here is the first project on the list, keyword density is 131. So I know for sure painting has to exist in there. So what I'm going to do before I even go into the project, I'm actually going to review the bidders list. And I can see here, wow, I need to look at this project. So I'm going to follow it again, right? If I can follow that. And then I'm going to double click on it. And I'm already following this. So it did give me an error. And so that oops that you saw there, I actually have followed this project already. So that is going to be assigned to you that, you're already following it. So you don't need to try to follow it again. Okay. So I'll go to my documents and addenda, and I just want to do a confirmation here of the word painting, because I know it showed up in the keyword density on the project search page. So I need to know for sure that it does exist in the documents. So this will be a good indicator. Actually, before I download the documents, do I see painting? And I do. There's a bunch of references here. It has division 9 or section 099000. I also have it in this other project manual 3. So all 3 project manuals have painting. Okay. So that's what I would do when you're searching projects, is I would do the project search with the document search, and then I would take it to the next step is go into that project and then see if painting has it in there. But remember, by default, it's checked off. So it's going to reload again until you actually check off the document search. Then it won't keep filtering, because that's what it's doing right now. It's trying to load it again. Okay. But while that's loading, I'm going to show you the export to Excel, which I actually had clicked on, and I actually have it preloaded here for you. This only usually takes about a minute as well. And this will show you all the projects that are in open status that I've selected from my toggle column. And now it's actually exported all that information for me. So now I can see here, right, if I want to sort any of this information, I can do so by just clicking on the download arrow, and then I can choose, say, sort to A to Z or Z to A. So I'll go ahead and do A to Z as an example, and you can see here alphabetically it does the project titles. If I wanted to do the closing dates, I would do the same thing. And now I can see all the ones closing the soonest, right, to the oldest. So I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to close it. And going back to my screen here. Okay, so then you get how the document search works with the keyword density. So now I'm going to go ahead and go back into this project. But before I do that, I actually want to go ahead and I want to save this document search before I forget. Okay, because I don't want to have to recreate that search every time when I'm here. So I would just call it painting search. And also just say open stage. I have an open stage and I've saved my search. It should show up over here. Okay, so now I have it. so I can run it at any time. I also do have some built-in searches here from BuildWorks Canada. So I have here projects updated in past 24 hours, or I also have created or have bid results. So in the old platform, you would have remembered some of these built-in searches. And if you were looking for bid results, you would have been able to click on them and populate it. Now, of course, you don't have to run any of these custom searches for that information. What you can do actually is you can choose your stage here, and you can go ahead and just choose unofficial results, run that search, right? And then it's going to populate all that information for you. And then once you have that, the list of projects that you've populated here, 311 records, you can double click on that project and then go right to the bidders tab. And here you'll see there's 3 bidders. Here's the price that they were submitted. And if once the contractor is awarded, the awarded price will be right beside it. So if you want to see that, what you would do, you can clear all on your search. And then now I can go ahead back to stage, go to awarded. And now it does the same thing. It populates all the projects that were found and making sure that I'm choosing Manitoba as a zone, because by default it is there. But when you hit clear all, it's going to remove it. So I'll add Manitoba back in, hit search, and now this is only the projects for my particular zone. And here again, I have the bidders column checked off in my toggle here. So now I'm going to go through and see which one, like this interior retrofit, right? Okay, and I can see this information here posted to companies. They bid here, they were awarded but undisclosed, and also Gardon Construction, value undisclosed. Okay, so go back. Okay, so now just going back to reset here to clear it all. Next thing I'm going to cover here is just downloading a project, and you have 2 options here. Either you're going to want to zip the files, or you can also you can download individual files. So select my zone, Manitoba, make sure my stage is on open, hit the search. Okay, so now I'm back to 108 records, and I'm going to find a project I'm interested in. So for example, if someone gave me a project and I didn't find it in the list, say it was Lac de Bonnie, I could go ahead and just type Lac, right? You don't need to type in full. As well as if you had the project number, you can add that as well. So you have that option. Okay, so this is the job here. It's found it. I'm going to go ahead now, go to the documents and addenda portion. And just before I cover that, just so you know that what could be actually what's missing from this platform compared to the other platform is the document takers list. And that's going to be something that's going to be coming soon. I can't provide a date on it, but what that is, it's the list of companies that have actually viewed the project. So the general contractors, the subcontractors, also the subs like manufacturers and suppliers, equipment suppliers, they're going to be on that list. So when we do launch that, of course, you're going to be able to see all that information, as well as, of course, when you're on the project itself, you'll be able to here have a button that you can click on to print, a nice friendly report and, a PDF report, so you can see all that information, as well as the ability to print a bulletin report, which you had in an old platform. So you'll want to create a bulletin for open projects, say the ones that are closed or bid results or awarded. You will be able to do that, and also mention that report. If you're a Winnipeg Construction Association member, you're getting the weekly bid results report. That will be coming soon. Once we can create those bulletin reports as well as you can, then you'll be able to do that. Okay. So that is coming, just to let you know. Okay. So going back to documents and addenda, this project only has 1 file. So you have 2 options to download. You can either click on it and it'll instantly download for you, right? Or to the right here, you have your download arrow, and that downloads it as well. Okay. Now, this job only has one file. So if you got into a project with multiple files, for example, this, let's see here, this replacement of exterior glass units, documents and addenda. Once you have plans and specs, you want to download all the documents, right? It's going to take, maybe 20 or 30 seconds or a minute. Again, it's not going to take very long. You have this window to show you how, what the percentage is loading. So that was very quick and it's instant. If you're using a Chrome browser, it's going to be on the bottom for you for downloads, going to your most likely default folder, which will be downloads. And if you're using Firefox, you're going to find that normally on the top right, there's an arrow. And if you click on that, it actually downloads to your downloads folder. So you will find it there. And I believe Microsoft Edge works the same. Just to give you a heads up, when you are using BuildWorks Canada, you want to make sure that you're using Firefox, Chrome, or Edge as a browser. Do not even attempt to use Internet Explorer because it's not currently supported, as well as you won't be able even to log in with your user account. So just use those three browsers. And then the only thing I'm going to mention also is if you're on a project and you've accessed it and you don't have full access, most likely you're not in your zone. So when you're in a different zone, for example, Alberta, and if you don't have a membership currently there, you're going to have still a public view, but you're not going to be able to get full access. So in order to do that, you're going to have to purchase the project here. And then there's going to be a cost of $75 plus GST, I believe. And Curtis will actually go over that and he'll add a little bit more detail to that for you. But that's everything in my section. I'm going to now pass it off to Curtis Griffith, our Director of BuildWorks Canada, and he will go over the upcoming directory as well as advertising and the invitation to bid.
Thank you, Les.
You're welcome.
And as Les mentioned, I'll touch on a few of those upcoming features, as well as a little bit more detail on an idea there that Les was speaking about. So one thing that has been a common question, and this existed even previously, the way that we operate as the three separate provinces in the zones. When you do select project search, what you're seeing is a result of every open opportunity in the entire platform. So across all three zones, so there's 390 current open opportunities. So within the zone that you're a member of, which is clearly on your dashboard, you'll be able to see full project content. And if you're not a member of an association within that zone, you'll see what Les described as the public view. So I'm just going to do a search here of Alberta and Manitoba to highlight that difference. So I'll get a smaller result. So that has removed all of the Saskatchewan content from my search results. Now I do not have an active membership with Winnipeg, which I should. It's a great organization and it should have a membership there. If I view this project, I'll see the project details. This is going to be limited, so kind of a free trial offer right now. In the future, you won't see nearly as much information as you can currently. But you'll see a message here on the documents, the contacts, and the bidders asking you to upgrade your membership. So this is where if I was a member of the Winnipeg Association, I would have full access to this content. Or as Les mentioned, I can purchase this individual project. So for $75, I would receive full access to this project, the project contacts, the documents and addenda, all the bidders, as well as I can sign up for automatic notifications and receive those in my email as they come through. So that's just a little bit more clarity on that and how that works. If you're ever feeling like you're getting confusing results, it's likely that you've got a zone selected, or perhaps you don't have a zone selected, which will default to the entire platform. So that's just a quick summary on how the zones work and how that pay-per project access. We may have some folks on the webinar that aren't members of any of the associations, so that would be the view that you get for all the content within the platform. Moving along to some future feature releases. In our previous platform, we did have a functioning directory we're working really hard to improve on that and relaunch a refreshed directory. So these are just some stills of what we're working on. The directory is, I think, a big part of our service offering in that we want to connect you to work and opportunities wherever they exist. So traditionally, you log in, you find work, and that's how we're providing that service to you. Through the directory, we are providing your company a place with a tremendous amount of traffic to share all of your company's experience, your expertise, your qualifications, your key staff, and let them connect with you. So in a way, we're trying to create our own niche LinkedIn for construction in the 3 provinces. So some upgrades that we've made and we will launch in the coming months, hopefully before the snow flies, will be some better searching criteria. So we canvassed general contractors across the 3 provinces. What are the key things you're looking for when you're looking for a subcontractor, supplier? Core, bonding, WCB, liability, and their service region were the starting point. We'll build these out as we get more feedback. So the service regions are important in that when you're updating your profile, as Sarah Lynn pointed out, when you're filling out that information, this is meant to indicate the areas that you work in. So we understand you have a home office, and perhaps that's in Calgary, but your business, you may bid on work in Red Deer, Medicine Hat, you may even bid on work in Regina or Saskatoon. You can identify that those are areas that you service. This will allow general contractors, owners, consultants, anyone looking for your work or your services can find you through this directory. They can then also filter by those key qualifiers, which you'll see on the search results mock-up. When you're seeing companies, they'll be able to quickly filter by their region, their association membership. So we get that a lot. We have a lot of member firms that want to look for just other LCA members, so that functionality will be there. So you can drill down your search results and find those companies that you're looking to do business with. This is just another view of the search results, and then this is the actual profile mock-up. So you'll be able to have your logo, your description, the work that you do, your scopes of work, service areas. You'll be able to link all your social media, your key contacts, so your estimators, your BD people will be visible there so that they can be found and be reached out to. You can fill in your past project experience. So we know you've done a lot of good work and you want the world to know about it. So this is a place where you can put all that data and then we'll do all the marketing. So we're going to do all the SEO optimization, making sure that people can find your company through this directory. And we think that can add a lot of value, especially we know you have your own website, but if you want to link to your website, we have a tremendous amount of traffic that comes through the platform every day. And what we want is to expose your company to all that traffic in any way we can connect you to that and to new opportunities. That directory ties in as well to the next feature that I'll talk about that's coming, and it's our private invitation to bid tool. So previously, we called it On Demand. It was something that, or a service that allows prime contractors to send out private bid invitations to their subcontractor network or supplier network. So many of you would know the old on-demand service, or perhaps Building Connected, Invitely, iSquareFoot. There's hundreds of them out there. And what we're going to provide is a zero-cost service that allows our members, our prime contractors, to create these private invites to invite you to bid on these projects and for you to receive those and access them. So generals using this tool will have their own private book. They'll then be able to use our directory to find you. So it's critical to have your information in there that's accurate. And they can filter by those service regions, by your qualifications, and then invite you and find you to bid on their private work. So what this creates is really another way for us as BuildWorks and the construction associations to connect you to new work and new opportunities. So we hear all the time that these generals are using these private softwares to invite, and then how do we get on those lists? So we really want to have a place in our ecosystem where you can have One point of access, you can find the work to bid on, you can expose your company through the directory, and you can also be found and get invited to this private work that's happening out there. So these are two things that are intimately tied together. We're working hard. They're pretty complicated, so they're not something we're just going to flip on before we test them and then make sure that they work. But we'll get these turned on later this fall, early this winter. We'll be pushing out any information on them. So if you have any interest right now, let me know. You'll get my contact info if you don't have it already to ask questions about it, be a part of those initial demonstrations if you want to be there. And we'd be excited to have you using our zero cost invitation tool, which will encourage finding more members and connecting with quality contractors for your projects. The last thing we'll touch on is just something that everyone has seen. Sorry, this is for the generals using our invitation to bid, a little dashboard on the reporting that they have access to, so who they've invited, whether they're bidding, not bidding. And the last thing that we'll talk about before we answer some more questions, and we already had a few come through, is the advertising. So you've seen the ads there. If you want to get involved and do some advertising with BuildWorks, reach out to myself. We'll send out some information on how you can get involved. It's really a great way to connect with all of your industry peers. There's no other place that has all of the ICI industry in 3 provinces coming into the site on a daily basis. So if you're interested in that, we can get you the information and help you out. So I know there's a few things that we missed. One thing was just some technical Zoom on the export to Excel. So I'm going to bring that up just to help out. We had doing a search result, and I've already done the export, but we'll do the search. As Les mentioned, you can control these columns and the content that appears here, and add those, remove them as you need. So if you add a column, it will then show up in the Excel export. So we had 171 projects in the Alberta search. I'll pull up that I've already previously exported. And this is what it looks like. I just want to confirm that everyone can see that. I think they can. Yes, awesome. Thank you, Sterling. So this is what Les was mentioning. Just a great way to pull all this content out of the platform and to then distribute it within your own teams, to filter it in the way that you want. All those different columns add different pieces of information. So here I've just got the owner, the location, the tender stage, and then the funding model. So maybe I only want to see all of those things that are being pushed out by Alberta Environment right now. They've only got one project out, et cetera, et cetera. So just a great way to pull that content out of the platform and share with your teams and create a little bit of efficiency there. There was a question about printing. So this is a common one because we had that functionality previously. So right now, unfortunately, there's not a great way to print the project details, which is something that is currently in the development priorities. So we may have this sooner than later. And there's really 2 things that we're working on here. There's the ability to just hit print and print this out. Order print does not do that. This is if you want to actually physically order prints, and you're best to just reach out to your local association directly in the way that currently works. You can print the browser page by using the print function from your browser. It's not going to be a great output, and it's it works, but I wouldn't. You're not going to be too happy with the results. So we are working on that print page functionality, and as Les mentioned, we are also working on a bulletin functionality, which would allow you to take a search result that you have, and in the same way that it exports to Excel, really pick the content that you want to pull out and pull that into a really nice PDF format that's really great for you. So if all you care about is bid results, as an example, you'd be able to say, show me all the projects with bid results in the last 7 days, pull that into a bulletin, print it, share it with your team, all those types of things. So those are just a few of the things that we're working on. We do have a lot of other features that we're working on, but those will be coming out monthly. We do have an updates page on our website. If you go, I think it's under the, it's called updates on BuildWorks. I should know that, but you can keep track of what features have been released, and we'll try and also keep that updated with what's upcoming as well, as best that we can. So just going to take a quick pause here and see if there's any questions that are coming through. And there's one here about downloading documents individually. So I'm just going to pull up a project here. Hopefully there's more than one document. Yeah. So right now, the download functionality, I think what we're looking for is a checkbox functionality. And right now we don't have that. So you have two options to download. You can download by clicking here, which will give you the individual file, or you can download all. What we don't currently have is the ability to multi-select individual files. For instance, if I only wanted to select division 3, 4, and 5 and hit print, we don't have that. I do know that is in development, so we've had that conversation for members and for users to be able to do that. So that is something that will be coming soon. Currently, just the ability to select individually or download all, as Les pointed out. There's a question about project completion time. So that is something that I don't know that we actually track that on every single project. Many times our staff are trying to determine that construction start, construction end time. Often it's not provided by the owner or tendering authority that's put the information in there. So that, what I would recommend is if you're looking for that type of information, you might do a keyword search for completion or completion time, and that would then show you a project that has that information, but it's not something that that I would say we have on a high percentage of projects. So it is something we try and collect as a data point, because we know it's valuable to understand when construction is starting and how long it's planned to be. So that's actually a great thing that we will encourage and keep trying to find that information for you. And then a question on how long you can look for awarded projects. So currently, you can look for awarded projects for as far back as we've put the data in. So that might be a question a little bit about the platform transition. So we tried our best to put as much historical data into the new platform as we could. And we got back a fair ways in that effort, but we didn't go back 5 years, that's for sure. So it's something that we do chip away still at in the background when we have time to put in that historical data. But if a project is awarded and we put the information in, that will stay in the platform indefinitely for you. We don't have a firm time frame right now on archiving that data. So certainly anything that's been put in that's awarded for this calendar year will stay there, and we would work to keep that awarded and bid result information in the system for as long as we can, because we know it's often valuable to go back and historically check out who was awarded a project 6 months ago or even 18 months ago. So that information should be available to you. If you're having trouble finding a specific project, then always please just reach out to your local association, and one of the team members can certainly help you find that information. So that looks like it's all the questions. Just a reminder, everyone, you will be getting an email with a link to the recording. We'll also have a form there where you can ask questions. So if you didn't feel comfortable answering a question on the chat and you want to ask us separately, please feel free to do that, and we'll get those questions answered. As always, you can always reach out to any member of your local LCA team, and they can help you with any questions that you do have. Our FAQ and help page is on buildworkscanada.com. There's a ton of content there, a ton of video content. We will be rolling out a new service within BuildWorks that will have a checklist, walkthroughs, help videos, content, tooltips directly in the application. So, you know, many of us would be used to that that type of information being at our fingertips in the application. So we'll be launching that in the near term as well. So that'll be a great resource for all of us. But I think that that might be everything. So I'm just going to double check with the team here, make sure we haven't missed anything. And it looks like we're all good. So I have no doubt that we've missed something that is important to you as an individual. So please reach out at any time. Send us an email. You'll get all of our personal contact info, and you'll be able to reach out to any of us as panelists. Most of you will know your local construction association contact information. And really happy to have spent this time with you, and hopefully you learned a few things. The goal is to be efficient and help you spend less time in the platform and find the work that you need, and then obviously go bid it and go win it. So thank you for sharing a little bit of your Friday morning with us. We really appreciate it. And reach out with any questions. Look for the emails with the link to the video. Share that with your colleagues and far and wide as you see fit. And we'll be doing a few more of these webinars in the future. So we may break them down into specific segments and provide those for people. So look out for those and the new announcements as we release new features in the future. So good luck out there. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, and we'll see you all again soon. Take care.